The Lorain County Commissioners would like to welcome you to come down to the Lorain County Dog Kennel.
We have lots of dogs available for adoption. We also encourage all dog owners to register your dog each year and get a dog license.
We also have a special dog license. It's a special heart medical care license tag for an additional $5. And the proceeds from that go to help us when we pick up a stray that's injured or needs extreme medical care.
Remember, your best friend is waiting for you.
Welcome to another broadcast of the Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Thursday mornings at 9:30 at the Lorain County Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and as always, you are invited to attend.
Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning and welcome to our November 9th meeting, which is a day earlier than usual because of the holiday and NOACA's meeting moving up a day, so we've moved up today to be accommodating. Madam Clerk? Excuse me.
Do you have a thought?
I have a thought. Yes, I do. It's a very important thought. On our leadership calendar, it appeared on the weekend. It says, there is always something to be done if you care. This is courtesy of our County Administrator, James Cordes.
Sounds like you.
Where'd you steal that from?
I want you to know it was my second or third quote.
You want to start doing the quotes next week?
Desperate. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Teresa.
That's okay. We're going to do the tax abatement first. Amend the Enterprise Zone Tax Agreement approved on June 23, 2005 between the City of Avon, Lorain County Board of Commissioners, and Henkel Consumer Adhesives, Inc., Avon, Ohio. Ohio Department of Development objected to the proposed relocation of an estimated $1 million in inventory from Henkel-owned OSI facility in Mentor, Ohio to Henkel's Avon facility.
Rebecca, are you going to report to us this morning? Rebecca Jones, Economic Development Director.
Rebecca Jones, Lorain County Community Development Department. Good morning, Commissioners. This amendment, or this tax abatement, came to you on June 23rd and was approved under Resolution 05-518. When we sent it down to the state, they had concerns about the movement of inventory from a plant in Mentor into Avon, and so the state asked that we amend this abatement, and that's why it is before you today. The state has reviewed this proposed amendment and said that it meets their satisfaction. So with this today, we should send this back down to the state, and that will approve this amendment for this tax abatement amendment for Henkel. We do have today with us Mayor Smith from Avon, and we also have Dave Alton with Henkel Consumer Adhesives. Mayor Smith may have a couple of comments.
Good morning, Mayor Smith. Welcome.
Good morning. There was just the state requested that some of the inventory stay over in Mentor, correct, Dave? But they are still going to put in a number of inventory here in the city of Avon, Lorain County. So it's an amendment that had to be taken care of because in the state of Ohio you can't take it from one place and give it to another and then the abatement. But they're still going to put the same amount of inventory in the city of Avon, but they're going to have a certain amount of inventory in Mentor continuously. So, and like I said, they've been just a great partner in the city. They've donated a lot of money to the school system and continuously donate product to the school system. They're employing 505 employees now in Lorain County. Started out a few years ago at 200. So they've done their job. They've been a good corporate citizen. The expansion is going to be our second biggest building in the city of Avon, and they're our first. So they have the first two largest buildings in the city, and it's going to employ more people in the county, and I think it's really a positive for us. And it also shows people from outside of the county that we will work with people, that the county will, that other people will come here. and it's just, that's how it follows. And if there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. And I'm sure Dave, if he has anything, or if you guys have anything, he'll answer.
Well, sounds good, Mayor. Keep expanding.
It's a beautiful thing.
So that you're able to comply with the state requirement at no disadvantage to your company?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. I'll move for approval as outlined.
Thank you.
Second?
Any further discussion? Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kukowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Thank you for coming again this morning, Mr. Alton. Nice to see you, and Mayor Smith, Mr. Piazza, and Rebecca. Oh, yeah, well, it's nice to be
Hey,
reelected.
congratulations, Mayor.
When you have no opposition.
Close race, wasn't it? My daughter voted absentee, and I looked over her shoulder, so I knew I won by
Under resolutions, number 1, job and family services bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kukowski?
Aye.
Investments.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kukowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Appropriations.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kukowski?
Aye.
Transfers.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kukowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Advances and repayments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kukowski?
Aye.
Requisitions.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kukowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Travel expenses.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kukowski?
Aye.
Bills.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kukowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under the auditor, authorize various refunds on incorrect conveyance fees due to an error in the sales price to be paid from account refunds. 1, Real Living Title Agency, Larry, in the amount of $851.20, and 2, Land American Lawyers Title, Medina, in the amount of $712.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under the Commissioners, authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary for employees within jurisdiction of Lorain County Commissioners.
Commissioners, we need to have a very brief executive session to discuss a personnel issue that's also a matter of pending litigation. Thank you.
You said it was going to be brief last week.
We're going to ask him to define brief.
Can we ask him not to come?
I'm assuming 15 or 20 minutes should be.
We have IEC at 11 o'clock, that's why.
Yeah, I don't have very much at all.
Okay.
Authorize to release a retainage to Superior Electric Company, care of Liberty Mutual, Cleveland, in the amount of $143,324 plus interest as final payment for the work performed in the Lorain County Justice Center project. This action has been requested and approved by the architect, construction manager, and prosecutor, and all necessary paperwork has been received.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Instruct the clerk to advertise for bids removal of asbestos at 40 East Avenue, Elyria. Notice will be published in, and I think these dates were just changed this morning. I didn't bring the new thing out with me, but do you have them with you by
Yeah,
chance?
they're the 18th, advertised the 18th and the 25th.
Okay,
A pre-bid conference on the 30th and open December the 9th at 2.
okay.
Thank
So-
you, Yvonne. Also
Yeah.
moved.
Okay.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, Jim, now this is for our transportation center, correct? Because it just has an address, everybody knows where it's going at.
That's correct. You're
Doesn't-
absolutely correct.
Yeah, it doesn't say which project it is, so everybody's familiar where we're spending this money.
You're talking about the number 12?
13.
Number 13, on the asbestos abatement.
That's correct, Commissioner. That is for the Transportation Center, and the dates are pushed out a bit for the advertising. I didn't know we were going to use November 11th and the 18th. I thought we were going to
We
use...
moved
We
it
just
already, we
changed
just
it.
took care of that, Jim.
Sorry, I
Pay
was reading something
attention.
else.
He can't do two things at once. He is human.
We feel
I'll
your
be
pain.
fine.
We're
Yvonne.
doing it the 18th and the 25th.
That's what I thought.
We did that.
Sorry, I was looking at the Transportation Improvement District stuff for Commissioner Blair. We pushed the dates out because we want to make certain that ODOT looks over our paperwork. I'm trying to expedite this process between these organizations. and trying to run some things concurrently. I just don't want to run them so concurrent that I get hit by the train, so to speak. And so,
Aren't you going to lay down on the tracks for us?
I would do that for you, Commissioner. You know that.
Yes, you would.
But I'm very, very cautious when working with the state on these things. So we're going to be prepared to strike, and we're going to push the state to move a little faster than we've been moving forward. I think it's not anybody's particular fault, but we need to press our project along more rapidly. And I'm comfortable after that meeting that we talked about last week that we should get these commitments going. So thank you very much for your support on this issue.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kukowski?
Aye.
This is going to read a little bit different. Number 14, we're just amending the Commissioner's Personnel Manual, Section 6.4, the sick leave conversion. The amendment will reflect effective November 15, 2005. All employees hired on or after shall only receive 250 hours.
You want to explain the change on this?
Over the last, I want to say decade, the policy for sick leave conversion cash out upon separation from county service has increased. Normally this is due to increases and benefits gained at the bargaining table by our various bargaining units, and the commissioners have always mirrored those changes for the non-bargaining people. It's gotten to the point where it's about 1,000 hours now, which is quite significant. And then very seldom accused of not being heard. So over time, these hours have increased to where it's very substantial, and the new commissioners coming in requested that we review the policy and that maybe we reestablish a new baseline, and then we move from that baseline over, begin to move up again probably, because I know the bargaining units are going to want to discuss this. But right now this policy is simply for the non-bargaining general fund employees and any other agency out there that decides to opt into the commissioner's sick leave conversion cash out upon termination of county employment. It is my understanding under the Ohio Revised Code, any agencies, non-general fund agencies that want to also have a sick leave conversion cash out, it has to be agreed to by the Board of Commissioners. So most of these agencies have little choice but to follow suit with your policy. Now you're going to see two more coming right after this. And I've worked with counsel and with the clerk and inserted a small condition in those two policies that they mirror any changes that this board makes in their policy, so that we don't have to worry about going back to 15 different agencies and saying, did we get every one of them? It's an automatic kicker in their policies when we agree to it today in the next two that says if we change ours change. So it can't say, oh, we forgot to modify this one so it slipped through. There's no possibility of that occurring. So the new baseline is 250 hours for all new employees hired on or after November 15, 2005. And the existing employees, by advice of counsel, have to be grandfathered in because that was a benefit granted to them previously. Is that correct, counsel?
So regardless of whether an employee accrues 1,000 hours upon termination, they only get 250? Is that what this change is saying?
Well, they will only be able to cash out 250. The remaining 750 hours, if they had exactly 1,000 hours, would be retained in their sick leave bank. If they went to other public employment, under the Ohio Revised Code, you have 10 years to re-employ in the public sector, and then you're credited with your sick leave balances. Another oddity that the new commissioners have faced with a couple employees is employees being hired and having these huge sick leave balances that they're transferring around now. That's because of the Ohio Revised Code. It's not unusual to see a 10, 15, 20-year state, city, school employee, county employee with 10, 1,200 hours of sick leave in their balance, especially those that come to work dutifully and diligently every day. The code requires a minimum of 117 hours thereabouts a year of sick time, and it accumulates quite rapidly over a career. So that time isn't really lost to them. It's just that they can't cash out that time. It remains in their bank. Now, if they retire and leave public sector all total, they lose that time. There's no way of getting credited with it. And that's why you're seeing more and more aggressiveness in various public sector environments to cash out some of this time, either currently at current dollars or to accumulate at a future time and cash it out, because most of the time these are your good employees that accumulate the sick time. You're getting the productivity out of them. They're not taking their time. The employees that end up with no time, you didn't get the productivity. So it's a balancing act on how to keep these employees engaged and feeling good about their employment. You want them to come to work. You don't want them to use their sick time very much. But then again, they're sitting around going, "Geez, I got 6 weeks of sick time. I'm not going to get paid for. What am I going to do with this?" It's not really equitable. So hopefully this will bring some good balance to it. It's been an ongoing issue, and it probably will continue to be an ongoing issue in the future.
You don't think this is going to cause additional call-offs for sick time?
Not right now. Remembering that it's for employees after November 15th, it takes a while to accumulate time. Even to accumulate 250 hours, with taking 2-3 days a year, it's still going to take 2 or 3 years before somebody hits that 250 and gets above that, and then there'll be a comfort factor.
It's almost 6.5 weeks worth of time we're giving them now that they're getting paid out for.
Correct.
And we're paying at their leaving rate, not paying them at their starting rate when they might have earned it also.
Correct.
So if they come from another government job making less money and here they accrue time, then we're paying it out at their higher rate also.
That's correct, Commissioner, and there's a couple ways of dealing with that. About, I want to say, a year and a half ago, the then board discussed with me and authorized me to develop on another leave issue, on vacation time, a vacation cash-out policy. It was called an excess vacation cash-out policy. To be very candid with you, I never got it done. That was another thing that they were concerned about. They wanted to cash out vacation at current pay rather than accumulating it at future pay. I did meet with the auditor's office a couple times and we talked about it. I just never delivered the policy, and the resolution's still out there authorizing me to do so. I need to get that done. We actually have employees that are losing vacation time every year also, because you can only accumulate up to 3 weeks, and in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code, you can accumulate 3 weeks, and then you can have 3 years worth of vacation. You can have the 4th year accruing. Once you max out at that, any additional vacation time is use it or lose it, and so it just drops off, and it continues to drop off. And we do have employees dropping off vacation time all the time that come to work quite a bit. So that's an issue. And then on the sick leave, we could develop a policy where we cashed out excess time on an annual basis, or we converted that time for these employees. One of the things we talked about was a 1 for 50, a twofer. Cash out, we'll give you 1 day of pay for 2 days of sick time. That helps us, and it also encourages the employees, and that reduces our costs and it incentivizes them. I know a lot of people that would give up 2 days for 1 day pay. It's better than nothing. Mm-hmm. So those are things that we can look at. I don't know how aggressive the board wants to be, but we have time to do that. I don't think that this 250 hours is going to be too damaging for the next year or two, and we have to go to the bargaining table, obviously. We're setting the lead now for one of our bargaining strategies are going to be, because we need to negotiate this into 20 contracts now, 20 labor agreements. So there's some issues that we need to work on next year, and that could be one of them, and we need to work on the health care issue. And I would request that you give some thought over the next month or two to maybe doing something currently with conversion of sick time and cashing out of vacation to use current dollars rather than future dollars, and to reward those employees who normally are your very best employees for their high productivity and their ability to see through minor ailments and make it to work and perform for you every day. I know that's a lot to discuss at one time, but that's what this is all about.
Okay.
Answer your questions, Commissioner?
Yep. Thank you.
I need a motion.
Your pleasure.
Maybe.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Under Community Development Department, extend the completion date to April 3rd, 2006 for the Maud Needing Park Pool Spray Ground Improvements Project in the City of Amherst per Resolution 05781. This is CDBG FY04 project, which was awarded to Astro Pools Company, Inc. in the amount of $92,200.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Approve the Lorain County's Community Housing Improvement Program grant agreement in the amount of $528,000, of which $353,000 are home funds, $149,700 are CDBG, and $25,000 is Ohio Housing Trust Fund dollars.
Kelly, do you wish to speak to this? Please. Thank you.
Kellie Glenn, Assistant Director for Community Development Department. This is a grant that we applied for back in April, and I'm happy to say that we were approved for the grant. It was a competitive grant. It totals $528,000. $149,700 is CDBG funds. That is for additional fair housing services throughout the county. The $78,000 of it will be used for emergency home repairs and also implementation cost. And the $25,000 is for us to construct a habitat home somewhere in the county's jurisdictional area. So that 25 may be used for habitat, the construction for materials, or purchasing the actual land.
Questions, Commissioners? Thank you, Kelly. I'll move for approval.
Second.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Apply for coastal management assistance grants to Ohio Department of Natural Resources. This grant match will not exceed $45,000 from the County General Fund, matching the $45,000 requested for Office of Coastal Management. This work will be for the Beaver Creek watershed within Lorain County and will be in continuation of the 2005 CMAG grant awarded to Lorain County.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Under the sanitary engineer, approve and enter into a proposal for miscellaneous engineering services with K. McCartney and Associates in the amount of $15,200 to review the master plan for the airport and model the existing infrastructure, including sanitary sewers, storm sewers, and water mains.
Mr. Cortez?
Commissioners, at this point, I'd like to request that we hold this. I actually asked it to be placed on the agenda, and I didn't pay attention to what I was doing with this. I'm not sure it's what I asked for, and I just want to have an opportunity to review it before we address it. And if you could give me an additional week, I would appreciate it.
Fine. You know, place it back on the agenda when Mr. Cortez is finished. Thanks, Teresa.
Under Children's Services, authorize various additions and deletions of personnel in Lorain County Children's Services Department to utilize their Shell Oil Gasoline Credit Card not to exceed $200 and the agency's MasterCard not to exceed $2,500 for the year 2005.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Under the Sheriff, establish a procedure for the conversion of the unused sick leave for those employees who are not covered by a collective bargaining agreement under Lorain County Sheriff's Office in accordance with Lorain County Board of Commissioners Personnel Policy Manual, Section 6.4.
And I assume this is to bring this in conformance with what we just approved.
It is, Commissioner, and in accordance with a recently issued Attorney General's opinion, other appointing authorities and agencies that mirror the County Commissioner's policy, you as the legislative authority of the county, they have to request your permission to do so. And the state auditor is actually reviewing this as a performance standard during audits. So you'll be seeing several of these come up over the next couple of weeks or months so that we don't end up with an audit finding next year. We will make sure that each one of them is in conformity with 6.4 as per your desires.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under the TB Clinic, allow the request Lorain County Tuberculosis Clinic to adopt Section 6.4 Sick Leave Conversion Policy, Lorain County Board of Commissioners Personnel Policy Manual.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Cortez, County Administrator?
Commissioners, I have two late purchase orders this morning. Both of them have to do with sanitary engineering services with K.E. McCarthy. We did have the advances done over to the Sanitary Engineers Fund. I only received these yesterday, but I want to get moving on them. The first one is for Shadden Road Sanitary Sewer Extension. It's a revising of the plan to work with Elyria Township to bring the sewer, to redirect that sewer back through that industrial park and over to Lake Avenue, where the road is stubbed out, and eventually I believe that the road is going to follow the sewer. We're trying to line those two things up. That's something that we've been talking to Elyria and Elyria Township about for a while. It's a project that needs to get moving over there to more develop that area. The second request I have is a sizable one. It's for roughly $231,000. It is to go to Phase B on the quarry project for the sewer, going down Quarry Road, out of the west side down to Bromhill Township, and to support the $1 billion plus project. I would have to be able to give assurances to the developer that while we're still working out some small details, or somebody may call them large details, but details nonetheless, that we are demonstrating our commitment to the project. And I think there's not a lot of risk involved, but if the project doesn't go forward, we'll have paid for these plans. But it's necessary to move this county forward that we take this opportunity to take a little bit of a chance on this project and expend these resources, because we need this project in Lorain County.
Questions, Commissioners?
No, we've got to get this quarries project off the ground. It's very important to our development, so let's do what we got to do.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
And that's all I have this morning, Commissioners. Thank you for your support, as always.
Mr. Ennis, Assistant County Prosecutor?
Just Mr. Flanagan needs to discuss, I think, the same issue that Mr. Cordes referred, a personnel/litigation issue in executive session.
Thank you, Jerry.
Commissioners report?
Commissioner Laurie?
No report this morning.
Ted?
Yeah, I'd first of all like to thank Lorain City Council, the auditor, and the treasurer for an executive session we held the other night with our county administrator, working on things we're just talking about, moving Lorain County ahead, City of Lorain in particular. It was a very good meeting. We spent about an hour and a half or so, I guess, with them, Jim, hour and 15 minutes with them.
Very productive.
It was a very productive meeting. Hoping they come on board for what we're trying to get done there. And I also like to congratulate everyone who won yesterday. It's a very exciting day. It's almost like Christmas and opening your gifts. I always enjoy Election Day. So congratulations to everybody who won, and those who didn't, come on back.
Oh. Thank you. It's Wednesday, so it's still early in the week. Under board correspondence, there are two items I'd just like to point out. Item number 4 is the Governor's Award for Excellence in Energy that's going to be held the 17th. One item listed is Lorain County Chamber of Commerce, and really that was a joint effort. Mike Challender, who is now with whatever the current name of the...
Downtown Lorain.
Thank you very much. I'll never remember that. But he put this application together, and it was the house that we built. The solid waste provided the dollars, and
the greenhouse.
Thank you. And that is what the award is. So I think that's kind of fascinating. It fits in with some of these, but it's very different from the others. So I would hope that Mr. Billman could go to this
And I think that's certainly possible, depending on his physical condition at the time. As you know,
yeah.
he's still quite...
yeah, but he got rid of his cast.
He's having a problem ambulating.
Well,
So
all right.
hopefully he'll be able to go. You know, Mr. Challenger did that when he was the Sustainable Growth coordinator for the chamber, and he's still very much interested in that type of work, and they're really lucky to have him in Main Street, Lorain, especially since he's a local guy and doesn't look like he's going to be looking to move off very quickly. We've had that problem with the revolving door down there.
Mike's very green.
Yes, he is.
He's very green.
And he's fuel-oriented too, fuel-oriented. Oh, that's okay. And then the other item is number 8. Nat Clear received that donation of the savings bond from the commissioners. That was our savings bond, and he sent us a nice thank you note. And the third thing is Mr. Cordes and I were talking yesterday about the TID, you know, and because Mr. Carney asked me what the status of it was, and Mr. Cordes must have dug through his mail, because this is dated October 27th, so it just shows you how busy he is. But this letter is addressed to him, and it says, enclosed you will find 4 copies of the grant agreement between Ohio Department of Development and Lorain County Commissioners in support of the Lorain County Transportation Improvement District in the amount of $500,000. Yay!
Well, you know, Commissioners, I had
And then he goes on, he's so sober.
I just have to point out that it's dated October 22nd, but it's stamped into our office November 8th.
I didn't see the stamp.
Okay.
Well, yesterday,
That's why we stamp all our mail, so while I am busy, and I thank you for your patience, I'm not quite that far behind.
I didn't look down at the bottom, I apologize.
But I will tell you that I want to thank the state, because we did initially get this grant, and then we had a lot of problems with how our structure with the Transportation Improvement District was, and I had to work out a lot of nuance with them and then have them go back on award and re-award the grant back to the county through the county commissioners. And there was a lot of discussions going on, and it took a lot of time and energy, and the state was very cooperative with us, and so a lot of thanks goes out to them, and I'm just glad we were able to work it out and retain our grant, because we had to go back for a second approval process on this to move it over to the commissioners. And I will get the TID up and going here within the next few weeks so we can have our meeting and start being productive. Thank you.
Thank you. That's wonderful. That includes my report. Life is good.
Board correspondence.
Move the reading be waived.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Public comment?
Elizabeth, good morning.
Good morning. This is Elizabeth Rummix, Oberlin. I would just simply like to say that on Friday, November 11th at 1 o'clock, there will be a dedication of a marker at Westwood Cemetery in Oberlin. It's a very old cemetery which has a number of Civil War veterans and Black Civil War veterans buried in it, and a great number of notables will be there for part of the program, including Commissioner Blair, for which we're very grateful. It should be quite an interesting ceremony, and assuming the rain doesn't continue to work on us, not only will there be the program and various speakers, including, I believe, Marcy Kaptur and one or two other people, but afterwards Margaret Christian will lead a tour of the cemetery or parts of the cemetery for interested personages. She's a very active person on the history of Oberlin and Oberlin's Black community and the cemetery, and has recently gone through and made sure that there are appropriate markers on the graves of the Civil War veterans. And so her tour should be a particularly well-informed and interesting one for anyone who can take it.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And that cemetery is fascinating. It's just fascinating.
This won't tape till Saturday, won't show you all.
Right.
Well, maybe I'll print it in the newspaper.
Oh,
It's at the bottom.
pardon me? It's on the bottom. Teresa noted that she put it on the agenda, which also appears on our website, that we are not open on Friday here in observance of Veterans Day.
Remember your veterans.
Yes. Anybody else? We have such a large audience today. I move we go into executive session for the purposes outlined by the administrator and the assistant county prosecutor.
Second.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Thursday mornings at 9:30 at the Lorain County Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and as always, you are invited to attend.
Welcome to Golden Acres, Lorain County's best kept secret. In the heart of Lorain County, we are nestled on 22 acres of rolling hills in Amherst Township. Our rural-like setting is centrally located for everyone's convenience.
Since 1997, when the Golden Acres tax levy was voluntarily abandoned, the home has been self-sufficient. We currently serve private pay and Medicaid residents and are in the process of becoming a Medicare skilled nursing facility, which will enable us to provide a wider range of service to the residents of Lorain County.
Serving Lorain County for over 100 years, Golden Acres will continue to strive to provide
the highest possible degree of health, social interaction, and emotional well-being.
While selecting the best place for your loved one is never easy, many families take great comfort in choosing the friendly, home-like environment of Golden Acres. Certified by the Ohio Department of Health as an intermediate care facility, Golden Acres participates in the Medicaid reimbursement program. The facility anticipates certification as a skilled facility. Golden Acres has 82 intermediate care beds, 20 of which are for specialized care of Alzheimer and related dementia patients. Designed by the Golden Acres gerontologist consultant, the Alzheimer unit meets the needs of dementia residents who are prone to wandering and not mindful of their safety needs. Small by today's large facility standards, Golden Acres is a full-service, patient-family-oriented facility, operating 24 hours per day, 7 days per week under the guidelines of the Ohio Department of Health. Respite care is also available, ideal for those who are caring for their loved one at home and need a break from the 24-hour vigilance. Golden Acres provides residents a variety of services. As a four-season facility, Golden Acres celebrates each season with attractive decorations throughout the facility. In December, holiday festivities abound. Spring is a time of renewal, and celebrations include the annual Mother's Day Tea. In the warm months, Golden Acres residents and their families enjoy congregating outside on the patio or in the gazebo, spending lazy summer afternoons and evenings in the shade. Fall brings hazy days and cool nights, Halloween and Thanksgiving, bonfires, and hayrides. A monthly newsletter, Golden Acres Chit Chat, contains entertaining articles and information relevant to all residents and family members, including the monthly activities calendar. Golden Acres also schedules visits from dental, podiatric, optometry, audiology, and psychiatric services. Beautician visits weekly and barber visits monthly.
While no facility could take the place of your loved ones at home, our caring staff, residents, and their families will strive to make them feel at home and a welcome part of our facility.
In 1787, the Continental Congress organized the lands from the Ohio River to the Mississippi into the Northwest Territories. In 1803, the first of these territories to become a state was Ohio. Ohio was in turn divided into various land grants, including the Connecticut Western Reserve in the northeast corner of the state. The Western Reserve included the area that is today Lorain County. As Ohio gradually increased its counties to the present 88, the land we know as Lorain County went through several changes. Until 1810, the area was split between Geauga and Portage counties. When the area was being organized into Lorain County in 1822, it was created out of land from Huron, Cuyahoga, and Medina counties. At the time of its birth, Lorain County included Olmsted Township, now in Cuyahoga County, Spencer and Homer Townships, now in Medina County, and Troy and Sullivan Townships, now in Ashland County. This map illustrates the county as it appeared at the time of Ohio's centennial, and although some of the townships have been absorbed by incorporation, it also represents the shape of Lorain County today. Let's take a brief historical look at each of Lorain County's 21 townships. In 1807, the Calvin Hoadley and Herman Bronson families of Waterbury, Connecticut, began the settlement of Columbia. After a 3-month trek, the pioneers arrived in their new homeland in time to celebrate Christmas. The Bronsons, including their 7-month-old son, began that winter sheltered by their overturned bobsled wagon, converted into a frontier lean-to. The mouth of the Black River also saw the beginning of its first settlement in 1807, when Azariah Beebe established a trading post for Nathan Perry. This area, which 20 years earlier had seen a short-lived Moravian mission, would gradually grow into the village of Charleston in the township called Black River. Years later, this township would be removed from county maps because of the incorporation of the city of Lorain. Charleston adopted the county's name of Lorain when the city was incorporated in 1874. The dramatic growth of the city was spurred on by the expanding fishing and shipbuilding industries. In 1894, when Tom Johnson brought his steel mill to town, Lorain's destiny to be the county's largest city was assured. In 1813, the township of Ridgeville was officially organized. 3 years earlier, members of the Beebe, Terrell, and Root families had established this new settlement they called Rootstown. The change to Ridgeville was decided upon to indicate the sand ridges that passed through the area and provided transportation routes and fertile farmland. The area around the intersection of Butternut Ridge and Roots Road, first called Briggs Corner, was by 1880 known as Fields Corners and was the site of the town's water well. With the growth of the city of North Ridgeville, the township of Ridgeville was incorporated out of existence. In 1810, Silas Wilmot, along with Asa and Ira Morgan, erected a cabin on Butternut Ridge, and the community later called Eaton Township was begun. Wilmot married Chloe Hubbard of Ashtabula, and they were given the cabin, thereby becoming the township's pioneering couple. When Ridgeville Township was organized in 1813, it included Eaton, which was at that time called Holbrook. While the area was still a part of Cuyahoga County, the township of Eaton was separated from Ridgeville. Its first officers were elected in 1823, while the township was in transition to the new Lorain County. Amherst's township's founding can be traced to one Jacob Shoup. After first settling on the Black River, he moved in 1811 to the Beaver Creek. By 1815, he had erected a grist mill and the area's first distillery. Whiskeyville, today the intersection of Routes 58 and 113, earned its nickname as a center for the production of this important pioneer commodity. As the primary community of the township developed at the Old Spring, it came to be known as Amherst Corners. By 1836, the name Amherstville was recorded in the county offices, and in 1873, the town was incorporated as North Amherst. In 1909, the U.S. Postal Service had to choose between the villages of North and South Amherst. They chose the former, which then became the official and present-day Amherst. In 1917, in the northeast corner of the county, the township of Avon became another of Lorain County's 21 townships to vanish due to city incorporation. In 1814, Wilbur Cahoon had arrived from Montgomery County, New York, to become the first to settle in what was then Troy Township of Cuyahoga County. The farming community grew around its power source, the French Creek. Development along the interurban line would incorporate the northern part of the township into the city of Avon Lake in 1911, with the remainder of the township becoming the village of Avon in 1917. It was families such as the Burrell, Day, and Roots who established themselves in the Sheffield area in 1815 and 16. The township of Sheffield would not actually be created until 1824, when the newly elected Lorain County Commissioners made the township one of the first acts of their administration. The land had been primarily in Cuyahoga County prior to the 1822 reorganization. The southwest corner of the township was in Huron County and is today the only place to find a small section still called Sheffield Township. The remainder of the area has been incorporated, like its neighbor Avon, with the north becoming Sheffield Lake and the south the village of Sheffield. In 1816, Colonel Henry Brown of Stockbridge, Massachusetts, purchased a large tract of land known as Number 6, Range 19. Mr. Brown would later name the township after himself by simply adding Helm to his family name. Like the Old Saxon Ham, the suffix meant home. The Deacon Shepherd family were the first settlers when they arrived on July 4, 1817. The village of Brownhelm Mills, located in Benjamin Bacon's Mill Hollow, was one of 3 communities to develop. Bacon's Corners, or the center, was 3 miles east of the hollow, while just west of the hollow was Rugby, where stores, a church, a school, and the post office were located. The first settlers to the Grafton Township area were Jonathan and Grendall Rawson in 1816. 10 years later, the Rawsons were forced to build a grist mill, or forfeit their land under their original agreement with the Western Reserve Land Company. Railroads and quarries were the greatest influence on the growth of the village the locals called Rawsonville. The quarrying industry in particular was responsible for the influx of French-Canadian, Welsh, Irish, Polish, and German immigrants. In 1877, when the village was being incorporated, the name Rawsonville was dropped in favor of the railroad station name of Grafton. Originally a part of Elyria Township, Carlisle was settled in 1816 by John Bacon of Windham County, Vermont. When the new Lorain County was being organized in 1822, Carlisle Township